taking a journey with my friend Daniel. Before I talk about that, I want to say something to all the parents. Thank you so much for letting us have your kids this past week. They were awesome. And I hope that what they learned this past week will really affect them through the rest of their lives. But we really do appreciate your having them here. And for those of you who are visiting in particular, we're very grateful that you brought your kids and that you're here with us today. So, on the first day, boys and girls, you remember that Daniel and his 3 friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, which we know as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, were taken into captivity far away from their land. They were given Babylonian names. Daniel's name was changed to Belshazzar. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were their Babylonian names. They had to learn a new language. They were in a new situation. And so we learned that when things change,
God is with you.
Awesome. On the second day, Daniel was presented with a difficulty. King Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. And King Nebuchadnezzar, like most folks in their 50, couldn't remember what he dreamed. But he knew it was a really interesting dream. So he called all of his wise men and magicians together to not only interpret the dream, but first tell him what the dream was. And all of them together could not figure out what the dream was, and so he had them done away with. That's the way Neb worked. But Daniel, after praying to God, was given the interpretation of the dream and the dream itself when he went and told Nebuchadnezzar that his dream was about empires and that he was the head of gold and that eventually there would be a kingdom that no kingdom would ever overcome. And Nebuchadnezzar was absolutely pleased. And so we learned on that day that when you need help,
God is with you.
Awesome. The third day, Ashpenaz learned something that was disturbing. There was a new law passed by Nebuchadnezzar. He created this idol, 90 feet high, 90 feet wide. And he said every time the music played, all people were to bow down to this idol. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who we know as
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego,
said, we will not worship any idol other than Yahweh. We know Yahweh as Jehovah. And they said, we will not worship any other God, even with a threat that they would be thrown into a blazing hot furnace. They said, you can throw us into the furnace, but we will still worship our God, and we believe that our God will rescue us. And you know what? God rescued them from that blazing hot furnace. And so we learned on that day that when you are afraid,
God is with you.
on day 4, a lot of time has passed. And Ashpenaz is an old man. And Daniel is an old man. Been in captivity a number of years. And there he was as an old man. A new king was on the scene. Darius the Mede. Darius was tricked into passing a law that says everyone for the next month had to pray to him. This put Daniel in a quandary, because Daniel was known to pray to his God, Yahweh. He taught me that name, Yahweh. He would pray with his arms outstretched in the open to Yahweh, because he remembered his home. So I went to my friend Daniel. I said, Daniel, just for the next 30 days, you got to stop praying to God, Yahweh, and just pray to Darius only for a month. That's not going to hurt anything. I didn't want Daniel to get into any trouble. But do you know what Daniel said? I will keep praying to my God, for he is the one true God. And so there he was with his windows open, with his doors open, praying to Yahweh. And some people saw him and took him to the king. And you know what Darius did? He threw Daniel into a pit full of hungry lions. And that's where we left on day 4. My friend, in the pit of lions. We learned on that day that when you're all alone, when you're lonely,
God is with you.
day 5. If you remember on day 5, I was worried about my friend. I didn't sleep much that night. I didn't know what had happened. I knew that he was in a very bad place. And I knew for sure he was a goner. But the next day I learned that God saved Daniel. Just like he rescued Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who we know as
Meshach, and Abednego.
That's very good. I think the adults are actually getting something out of this sermon. I lost my train of thought. Just like Yahweh saved Daniel's friends from the fiery furnace, he shut those lions' mouth, and all they did was walk around and swish their tails.
No.
Daniel told me this. And it was amazing that my friend Daniel, even more amazing that his God, Yahweh, rescued Daniel. I became a believer in Yahweh. And so that day, Daniel being thankful, we learned that when you are thankful, so we put all of that together and we learn that God is with you always. Can we give a hand to Yahweh? There were 2 ladies that made this week really possible. Jenna and Shannon. Let's give them a hand. I invite them to come forward. They want to share some things with you. And then kids, I want you to get ready, because in just a few minutes you're going to come and share with your moms and dads what you learned this week and show them the songs that you sang to the glory of God. I bid you good day.
We first want to thank everyone, as Ashkenaz says, for bringing your kids and sharing them with us this week. This week was incredible. We had a great time just celebrating. It was a packed house. I mean, it took everybody, and we can't thank you enough for what you've done. We hope your children had fun, but most importantly, we hope that they learned of God's love for them, and that they are never alone, that God is faithful. He will be with you no matter what. And to me personally, that was also great to hear and reassuring, and we could just never hear that enough.
If you helped with VBS, if you would stand up from behind the scenes to making this great backdrop, to the kitchen, to the games, to crafts, stand up, because it took everybody to make this possible this week. Thank you. And if the kids will go ahead and make their way down to the stage, we will do our singing.